diagnosed some years ago with Parkinson's disease and thought about what was it that I most enjoyed now that I might not be able to do in the future. And it was swimming in freshwater lakes. I'd make these trips with friends, different friend on each occasion, to somewhere which has got an association either for the friend or myself. And I want to pack in as many lake trips as I possibly can, not least because it allows me to enjoy not only the lakes but more importantly those long weekends with friends.
Do you start to think then in terms of, to use your phrase, packing things in, or is that also, if you can determine it as unhelpful, because in a way you want to keep the old rhythm of life?
And I have to say I haven't resolved that entirely. It's a great question, and I think I oscillate between the two positions. There are certainly things I want to do. There are still books I want to write, there are still lectures I want to give, and I want to make contributions in various areas. But I think it's potentially very wearing if you try and live your life from hour to hour, thinking these hours are numbered and I've got to pack as much in. So I think I oscillate between planning things I need to do over the next year or two, and at the same time trying to live as, inverted commas, a normal life as possible.
We started by talking about the heel on your shoe, which you have, thankfully, I've noticed as you came in, you've had repaired. The issue, I suppose, is life is full of stuff that we have to do which we don't want to do. And, you know, the laundry is a great example. Now, do you not really resent the laundry, or whatever the equivalent is, or when you get a reminder that you haven't paid your gas bill, and you want to just ring them up and say, you can't send me this letter?
I certainly recognise the sentiment. When I was sitting down in January to do my tax bill, my tax return, then the sense that perhaps a couple of days spent doing this wasn't my ideal way of spending time.
Exactly, that's a good example.
But again, I don't think it's helpful to see this part of one's life as being completely removed from the norm. I think it's one has to balance the need to get on with one's everyday life while at the same time ensuring one does all that one can, both to make a contribution to other people, but also to extract the richness from a chapter of one's life that not everybody gets, because after all, lots of people are diagnosed with conditions where they don't get this prognosis of a year ahead. They're told that death is going to come much more quickly. So again, in many ways, I'm conscious as to how fortunate I've been.
Let me talk about family for a moment. We're going to play a record that you and I love, which is called Father and Daughter by Paul Simon. It's an absolutely beautiful record. And you have a daughter, and she's 17. And I wonder how, and just say as much or as little as you want on this subject, but how you speak to her about it, and whether you just carry on as normal or whether you have a big conversation.
Years ago, which is quite a lot for, she was then 10, a 10-year-old to cope with. Then subsequently, my wife and I had to explain to her that I had prostate cancer, and then the prostate cancer was incurable. Now, that's an awful lot for a teenager to cope with, and it does mean that I'm especially conscious of these years being peculiarly precious for Juliet, not least with my eye on the future when ultimately I won't be around. Now, all parents are conscious of that at one level. Inevitably, the diagnosis, which in my case happened last September, has sharpened that awareness.
And just one more on that. A lot of people leave a message. You're going to leave something out, and maybe you don't leave a message. Maybe you just leave it as it is. And just tell her you love her, and that's it.
And ultimately, that's the most important thing, that she knows that I love her and always will. I haven't decided about a message in the sense of something that I might write, but I'd hope in some ways the message is her memories of her experience of being with me and being loved by me, and her arrival in my life. We adopted her was the greatest blessing of my life, and I hope in some ways the message that I will ultimately leave her is that I love her as much as I could possibly love anybody.
Okay, well, this record say something. Let's play this called Simon Uncle. Do stay with us. Andrew McDonald. This is called Father and